Do you think that tutoring is a sustainable side hustle for busy teachers? Like if they're full time and they are in the classroom, they need to make some additional income. Is this something that they can really sustain over a long length of time, energy wise, payment wise, all of those things? Welcome, you guys. Today we have Kelly Duranche, and I gotta tell you, she is a teacher with passion. She's got 20 years of classroom experience. She started out her own tutoring business, the Readers Club, and in November of 2021, with a mission to help students in kindergarten to grade three become great readers. That was her goal. And tutoring has been such a positive experience for Kelly that she wants to share this experience with other teachers. So in August of 2022, Kelly started the Tutor Hustle for Teachers Facebook group so that teachers who tutor could find a community to share ideas and inspiration. And Kelly offers coaching and courses to teachers who want to start their own tutoring side hustle. Her mission is to share the joy of tutoring with teachers everywhere. And today she's going to be talking about why tutoring is the best side hustle for teachers. And I'm super excited to have you on, Kelly. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Joanne. I'm so happy to be here. I love chatting with you, and it's always a pleasure. So I'm really, really happy to be here today.
Yeah, and I love getting to hear your story. I know I've heard your story before, but our audience hasn't heard your story about how you were actually teaching in the school system full time and doing the tutoring on the side. Tell us about that experience for yourself.
Well, I started tutoring when I was on a leave. So I'd taken a leave of absence from teaching, and I was really fed up with teaching. Like I was really done with it, as so many teachers are experiencing, unfortunately. And I was experiencing a lot of teacher burnout. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a year off because I was fortunate to have that option to do that in the school board where I work. I'm going to take it's unpaid though, so I'm not getting paid. I'm going to take an unpaid year, and it's a huge financial risk, but I have to do it for my own health and well-being, So I took an
Yeah.
unpaid year, and I had a goal that year to find another career. I said, I'm not teaching anymore. I'm done with it. I cannot go back in the classroom. This is my time to find another career. So I was looking at looking on LinkedIn and Indeed and all over the place. And I was ready to start actually going into real estate with my husband because he's a realtor. So I was like, I'm going to just join his business and go with him. So I was all like, just ready to just leave teaching forever. But something inside of me was really like hurting and saying, I can't just imagine though not teaching anymore. Like I can't do it. Like I'm a teacher at heart, and you know, Joanne, because you are too, right? Like you can't
Yeah, yeah,
imagine life where you're not teaching, right? So
yeah.
on the outside, I was like getting all excited and having all this brave talk, and I'm never going back, and I'm leaving teaching and all this stuff. But on the inside, I was feeling like, ooh, I don't know if I can do it. And that's when I started tutoring. And I started tutoring just because basically I wasn't making any money. So I had to do something to kind of bridge that gap before I found my other new job, right? So I said, let me
Yeah.
tutor and make a little bit of extra money. And I loved it. I was so surprised. I was like, this is a kind of teaching experience I've never had before, ever in the classroom. I loved it so much because I could actually do everything that I know, that I've learned, like experience, all of these things that I have inside of me, these great teacher skills. I could actually apply them to helping my students learn. And
Yeah.
I can never do that in the classroom. Like it's hard to explain if you haven't been in the classroom, but there's just so many barriers to
Yes.
actually teaching. So you can't do that. But when you're teaching on your own independently and you're free to just teach, it's really magical. And the kids were learning and the parents were so happy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So
I
then
know.
I had to keep going. That was it. I said, okay, forget it. Forget any other job. This is what I want to do. I just want to tutor. And this is teaching as it is meant to be for me anyway. I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found the same exact thing in my own experience. I mean, I was just like shaking my head the entire time that you were talking. I'm like, yes, yes, that was me too. Like, I was good at teaching in the school system. However, there were so many barriers. Like I had to follow the curriculum. I had to stay on pace with the curriculum. I then later moved into the reading specialist position, and now I am trying to make sure that all the other teachers are staying on pace with the curriculum because now that's my job. And like that became like the biggest piece of it. Like, are they staying on pace with the curriculum? And a curriculum doesn't always move at the pace of the kids, and you have kids that learn at a different rate. And when you throw, like, I had 32 kids in my classroom. 32 kids in your classroom, they do not all have the same learning rate. Like, this is not a formula that works. Like, you can teach to the masses, sure, but they also have to be at the same level, and kids at a certain grade level are not at the same level. Like, they're all over the place. And that's where I think that when I started teaching one-on-one, I was like, oh my gosh, I can move at your level. I can teach at your pace. I can move quicker. I can go smaller. I can skip the things that you don't need. And that I found was the biggest thing that really began to make a difference for the students that I worked with. And just like you, I fell in love with teaching again because it seems like I'm hearing the same kind of thing. Like you were starting to fall out of love with teaching because of those different restrictions that were on you.
Well, that was one of the reasons. Unfortunately, there's so many reasons that teachers experience in, in the United States, in the UK, I'm in Canada, we're all experiencing similar different degrees of crisis, right? So there was a lot of other reasons. I mean, there was the violence in the classroom, there was like the bully administrators, there was, just unreasonable demands and restrictions and all these things from the school board. So there was all of that, but then I ended up going back to teaching. So just as a part two, I ended up going back after that year that I took the leave of absence. I did end up going back because as much as I love tutoring, it wasn't making enough money, right? So, and I'd only just started out too. So I did end up going back, but I went back half time so I could still tutor and grow my business and teach half time. And the funny thing is, when I went back, it was actually a much better experience now that I had this tutoring business. So I don't know if it's a coincidence or I think it's just my energy had changed because I felt like, I am a real teacher. Like I'm really teaching kids. And at that time I had about 20 kids on my tutoring roster. And this is like, I have my own little, thing going, like my own, not really a school, but my own place where I can teach and kids are learning, this is mine and nobody can take it away from me. Right. So when I went back to a new school, and it was actually a much more positive experience. I had wonderful staff, like the most wonderful staff I've ever worked with, the nicest people. I had this lovely teaching partner. The kids in my class they were amazing. Like they were the best class I had ever worked with. I have to tell you, it was the nicest school I'd ever been in. But I actually ended up leaving in December because to grow my business and just because, now that I've kind of had a taste of teaching independently, all those little, even though it was a really nice environment, there were still all those things like, the curriculum and you have to follow it. And, it didn't necessarily suit the kids in my class. They were really, really bright and really, most of them were advanced beyond the curriculum, but yet I couldn't give them a chance to work. You know what I mean? Because I follow the curriculum and it's like all these little frustrations and these things like, I don't know, like you have to, be here at a certain time and do this certain task and do it this way. And it's like, I said, you know what, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to take that energy and use it to grow my own business. And, and I'm all for, like, I believe in public school. My own child goes to public school and I'm all for it. And I wanted to do well and flourish and all of that. But I was just one of those teachers that just couldn't work within the system anymore and was just a lot happier working outside of it, which is what I do now. For the reasons you mentioned. Yeah. Same
for me. I found my joy in teaching again. And I can't imagine ever stepping back into the school system. Now, I think it's important to really ask this question. Do you think that tutoring is a sustainable side hustle for busy teachers? Like if they're full time and they are in the classroom, they need to make some additional income. Is this something that they can really sustain over a long length of time, energy wise, payment wise, all of those things?
Yes, I think it is, and I think it's actually really good for teachers, Joanne, on a few different levels, and for a few different kinds of teachers. So, if you're a teacher who's working in the classroom and you're happy and it's all good and that's what you want to do, like you're having a good experience, that and that's wonderful, good for you. I'm very happy for you. Then I think, and you want to just tutor on the side to share your teaching experience and make some extra income from it, then I think it is absolutely sustainable because, like I said, at the time when I went back and I was teaching half-time, I had about over 20 students, like somewhere between 20 and 25 students on my tutoring roster. That's a lot. And I was still able
Yeah,
to manage, like if I didn't want to grow my business and I just wanted to keep it at that, it would have been fine. Like I would have been able to easily manage that number of students and teach half-time. Now, I don't know if I can manage that number and teach full-time, but you don't have to have 20 students, right? Like you can
right.
have 10, you can have one, you can have, that's the thing with tutoring is you
Yeah.
can do as much or as little as you want. And the reason I was able to do so many too is because I teach small groups. So group
Hmm.
tutoring is, also really great too if you want to like boost your income and reach more students in a shorter amount of
Yeah.
time. But I
Yeah.
definitely think it's sustainable, and I think it's really good for teachers to, so for that teacher who's happy in the classroom, yeah, you can definitely tutor like one, two, three, four, even five kids on the side, whatever's right for you, and make a great extra income. Because as we know, if you tutor independently for yourself, you're going to make a good income if you follow, listen to Joanne, watch her YouTube, follow what she's saying, follow her tips. You're going to make a good income. If you're tutoring for a company, then no, you're not. You're going to make 20 bucks an
Right.
hour. That's how it is, right? So
Right.
it's your choice. And then for that teacher who wants to leave the classroom, and these are the people I've been really thinking about lately because I know what that's like. And I see them all the time on Facebook, all these conversations of teachers who want to leave the classroom because they're just at their wits' end. And many of them have to leave now because they physically, for health reasons, they can't, like it's not healthy. They have to get out and they're desperate and they want to find another job. But they're really sad because, like how I was sad, they don't want to stop teaching. They're teachers at
Right.
heart. But here's the good
Yes.
news. You don't have to. If you have to get another job, you can get another job and you can tutor as a side hustle. So you're
Yep.
still getting that teaching in, but in a much more healthy, like wonderful way than teaching in the classroom,
Yes.
right? And you're able
Yes.
to make extra money. Because think about it, like a
Yeah.
classroom teacher is a high energy job. There's not too many
Yes.
jobs that take that much out of you. So if you transition into another job where you're just sitting at a desk or something, you're going to have a lot of energy and time freed up at the end of the day that you can tutor. And then you're still going
Hmm.
to get to teach and experience that joy of teaching. So I think
Hmm.
tutoring is really the best teacher side hustle because it fits both of those kinds of teachers, the ones that are happy in the classroom and the ones who want to leave. It's works out really well for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah.
really does. And I think like the thing that a lot of us don't think about, because when we're teachers in the classroom, we think, oh, tutors, they don't really make that much money. Like that's the way that I had thought. And I am making more money today teaching part-time, tutoring part-time, because I help other tutors part-time. Um, I am making more money today tutoring part-time, just with that piece of my income, than I made working in the school system. In fact, there are some months when I combine both of them, I can make as much money in a year in 1 month.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So my very first teaching job that I had was $30,000 a year, and I have hit the $30,000 month a few times in the last couple of years. So
Wow.
it when we think about that, like and how big that is, right? Like what does that mean? What does that look like? I think a lot of us as teachers, we think, oh, I never need to make six figures. Like we think people who make six figures are the administrators and they have all the extra chaos and
Mm,
and drama that goes on into that position. And we're like, no, I don't need six figures if that's what that means, right?
yeah.
And we don't realize, wait, you can do what you love to do and you can make six figures. Like if you want to turn this into your full-time career. Like this is amazing. And you have found a great way to be able to get students on Facebook. And you're going to be talking
Yes.
about that at our upcoming summit, which is April 21st, 22nd. If you
Yep.
guys haven't signed up for it yet, definitely sign up for it. There is a link in the show notes for you to sign on up, and it is called Achieving Financial Freedom. 50 proven ways to earn more for tutors to earn more income. And this is going to be amazing. So give us a little sneak peek, Kelly. Like, what can we do to be able to get clients on Facebook?
Well, that's where I've gotten all of my students, like almost all of them. I'd say 99.99%. I think I've had like one referral from a friend, and then the other ones have come from Facebook, and then referrals from those people who are on Facebook. And it's been really great for me. And I think that the key thing to remember, and what I'm going to be talking about in my talk at the Skyrocket conference, is that it's all about how you show up on Facebook and how you use it as a networking tool. Because Facebook, we don't really think of Facebook as a networking tool, right? Like we think about LinkedIn
Hmm.
as a networking tool, but we think about Facebook more as like in terms of advertising, we think of it more as like, if you just put your ad up and hope people will call you, right? Or as a place where you
Yeah.
can like post your Friday night picture and get a bunch of likes or whatever. But it's actually, there's so much more to it than that. And so I'm going to be talking about that, just how you can really show up on Facebook as your best self and really network with. It gives you a chance to network and get to know your target audience really, really well, because people are sharing all kinds of stuff on Facebook and they're having all of these conversations. And if you just listen to what they're saying, you can really get to know the people you want to work with really well and be able to serve them at a really high level, because you'll know what they want,
Yeah.
right? And what they're
Yes.
looking for. So it's all about
Yes.
like networking and listening and getting into the right groups. And know, I mean, the first thing before you do anything is you have to know who you are wanting to serve. Like you have to know what your niche is, who's your target audience, who is the student you want to work with. Because if you're just saying, oh, I just tutor, like, like me, for example, I'm qualified to teach kindergarten to grade 8, and I've taught pretty much everything under the sun in those grade levels. I've taught literally every kind of kid with every exceptionality. So if I took that and just put up my sign and said tutor, I can teach anyone, that's not gonna that's not going to really that's just not going to work. You have to know specifically who you want to teach, and it's okay
Yes.
to narrow it. It's okay if you've taught everyone and you're not going to teach everyone when you tutor. That's okay. Like it's okay to have a specific student in mind that you want to teach, a specific age, a specific type of learner, a specific subject. It's okay to have that and just like really narrow it down. That's who you want to work with. And then you'll be able to find them on Facebook or their families, because in my case, I teach like kindergarten, so they're not on Facebook, but their parents are, right? So I'll be able to
Right.
find them on Facebook, and then I can, get to know them and listen to what they need and what they're looking for, and serve them at a really high level, so that they'll seek out my services. And that's what people do now that I've been on Facebook
Hmm.
for a year, not even a year and a half. It hasn't even been a year and a half, just over a year. But because I've been present there that long, and like put that effort into it, into, showing up with my best self, listening to what my target audience is saying, finding those perfect groups, now people seek me out, which is really incredible. You want to get to that point where people are seeking you out on Facebook, and you want them to be able to find you. And that's what the talk is going to be all about, how you can get
Yeah, I
there.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And even if you're not on Facebook, you're like, no, I don't like to take part in social media and that kind of stuff. Think about this as a marketing tool versus this is going to be something that I get sucked into. And I think that's really important because uh it social media can be a really fantastic tool to be able to network with other people, other tutors, other parents, and there's so many opportunities that become available to you, right? So, you want to take advantage of those opportunities, but the big thing is how can I serve the people that are struggling, right? What resources and tools can I provide them? How can I help? How can they get to know who I am? And know that I'm there if they ever need to take it to the next level. And like you said, like really figuring out who that ideal client is so critical because there's a big difference between getting a job and then starting your own business, right? Because if I am going to get a job and I want to be a tutor at a company, the more things that I mention, the more opportunities I get for them to provide me clients. But the opposite happens when I now have to be the person in charge of marketing. I can't market all of the different areas that I tutor. And so I just throw them all onto one little thing, right? And then nobody hears the message that I have. But when I can figure out what it is that my ideal client that I absolutely love to work with every single day, I can get into the mindset of the parent and the child, then I can be able to create content that's based on them and not me, right? Because it's not about my credentials. It is about the results that I can get. But like all the information I put out there is not about me. It's about the child and what can I do for that child and what are they struggling with? And do I understand what their needs are and what it is that they are looking for? When I come at it from that point of view, all the content that I create looks very different than I have 5 openings for taking on students right now. Grab your spot before they all are taken or something, right? Like
Yeah.
that is not going to motivate anybody. The types of things, though, that do motivate people, I find, are testimonials from other parents, them sharing information on their own social media, and then other parents inquiring because of that. Those are the kinds of things like getting them to use their social media as well is really helpful. If you're already finding them on social media, they're already partaking in that social media. So it's not like you have to teach people how to use different pieces of social media so that they can get the word out there about your business. They're already using it because that's how you found them. I love it. You are
Yes.
so amazing, Kelly. I love it. You are such a bright light. And you guys, if you haven't signed up for Skyrocket yet, where you can learn those 50 proven ways to be able to earn more income in your tutoring business, whether it's different ways to be able to get students for your business, different ways to think about your tutoring business so you can make additional income, or side stream, side hustles that you can bring into your tutoring business so you can make additional money and constantly have you can be making the amount of money that you want. You can even exceed the amount of money that you want. I know a lot of people say, I don't do this for the money, but I'd have to say, you know what? We have to start thinking about what is it that we want in life. We have to think about what are your goals in life. We only are going to be on this planet for a short period of time. What do you want to experience while you're here? I know there are some countries I want to visit. I know that I want to be a snowbird in Florida and I want to have my own Airbnb out there. I know that I want to be able to hop on a plane when I have grandkids and be able to fly without thinking about how much is that ticket going to cost me to fly home for a weekend so I can see my grandkids. I don't want to think about those kinds of costs. I just want to freely be able to do them without money being what holds me back. How about for you, Kelly? What are your big dreams that you have for your life?
Well, I mean, a lot similar to you. Obviously, you want to be able to travel and, live a nice life and comfort for your family. But I'm thinking one of the reasons I'm attending the conference and I'm really excited to attend it is at the point where I'm at now in my business. And it's funny because you said a lot of people say this, I don't do this for the money. Well, I really want to give back more through my business So one of the things that I've been really proud to be able to do is offer classes at a much lower price, because I do group classes, right? So I offer my group class at a much, much lower price than my one-to-one class, so that more families can partake in the tutoring. And I'm able to do that because it's a group class. I actually make more money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I actually make more money in that amount of time that I tutor my group class, but I'm charging them much less. So I'm thinking, how else can I give back to my community? And I know that if I'm not making any money, I can't give back to them, because if I'm not making any money through tutoring, then I got to get another job, and I'm going to have to go back to the classroom. And what am I going to be doing there? Right. Just, frustrated and trying to survive, and not serving at the level where I want to serve. So I want my business to be really, really profitable, because I know the only way that I can give back at a really high level is for my business to be profitable. That way I can, like hire other people to help me and create new products that I can offer at different pricing tiers like I do now. And so that's why I know when I hear people say about tutoring, like, oh, you shouldn't do it for the money and you shouldn't be greedy and all this stuff. Like there's more to it than that. Do you know what I mean? Like you can, you can.
Yes. And for me, it was a poverty mindset in the beginning. Like I grew up in poverty. And so becoming a teacher kept me in a poverty mindset, because you don't make a lot of money as a teacher. And we've been told our whole lives, hey, you're a teacher, you shouldn't do it for the money. And then we hear all of like the other people, yeah, I don't do it for the money and all that, but you are doing it for the money. I mean, would you go to work every single day and not get paid in the classroom? No.
Yeah.
And so therefore, because a lot of us do have experience in the classroom as teachers, our services are actually valued at a higher rate one-on-one than they are valued in the classroom, because you're able to get results faster with those students. And when you do the small group, like you said, you can offer that at a lower rate, and then be able to make more per hour, even though you're working, with less hours. And I think that's it's great. There's so many different models that are out there, and you're going to learn all about those models at Skyrocket. So definitely come. You're going to find out how can you make more money? How can you run the business that you were meant to run? How can you bring in some additional income streams that are going to feel right for you? And you're going to be able to come up with your perfect elixir. Like, what is the perfect model for you? Because it doesn't look the same for everyone. For me, it's tutoring 20 hours a week and helping other tutors the other rest of the 60 hours that I work in my business. Wait, that doesn't add up right. Yeah, I know. I don't do math very well. I'm not a math tutor, guys. I'm a reading tutor. So that's why I end up working 80 hours a week. But it is all by choice, because I love it. And I do make sure that I take time for myself. I actually do take I have a half day on Fridays. I take Saturday and Sundays off so that I can recharge and start back again. But I love what I do so much, I can't stop doing it. So I'm addicted to what I do, and I love it. So,
That's
it's all good. I love being able to help people, and I love to do what it is that I do. And you got to find that perfect fit and that right mix for you. Thank you so much, Kelly, for coming in here and really sharing the possibilities with tutors. And, is tutoring really a good side hustle for teachers? And if you're a burnt out teacher, I would say absolutely not. If you're burnt out, you might want to think about maybe moving down to part-time with your teaching and then starting a side hustle versus being burnt out and then trying to give from your burnt out self to tutoring students. But if you still feel a lot of energy and you're excited about teaching, then adding tutoring to make some additional income is absolutely an incredible way to make additional money. So it really depends on you as a human being and where you're at in your life. But don't worry, tutoring is not a lesser position, guys. Okay.
Oh,
Tutoring actually is going to make you more of an expert in your field, and you're going to be able to even provide better services for your students that you have inside of the classroom. So thank you for joining us today. If you haven't signed up for Skyrocket yet, take advantage of that, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks, Kelly.
thank you.